This week, would you rather watch Dead Dudes in the House, The Dead Come Home, or The House on Tombstone Hill?
I'm down with Dead Dudes in the House.
I mean, the only thing that has me nervous, that one sounds like a comedy, and usually old comedies aren't that funny. I think, what was the second one? The Dead Come Home?
Dead Come Home.
That one sounds interesting. I could go for The Dead Come Home.
All right, well, you know what? It doesn't matter, because welcome to 80s marketing, it's all the same movie. So this week we watched 1989's The House on Tombstone Hill, or The Dead Come Home, or Dead Dudes in the House.
Thanks, capitalism.
Stabby Stabby.
Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Stabby Stabby, where we watch some random weird horror movie, and then we spoil it by talking about it, and then we rate it with stabbing it directly into its stupid face. I'm Greg, one of your hosts, and I'm back on my old bullshit, and I'm drinking a Rebel Hill Bleed Green.
Hey.
So I'd say it's nice to have it back in the mouth. I don't know what that was. How about you, Dan? How you doing?
I feel like at this point, Rebel Hills Bleed Green should be like the unofficial fourth host of this podcast, because it's at the mic as much as we are.
Yeah, it's like the fifth Beatle.
Yeah, that's it. It's our drummer. Hey, I'm Dan, and right now I'm drinking a black chocolate stout by Brooklyn Brewery. It's delicious. I'm really enjoying it thoroughly, and I'm enjoying this night, and I'm looking forward to chatting about this movie. Eric, did I hear you? Is Eric there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hey, buddy.
Hey. I am drinking a Double Galaxy from Hill Farmstead.
Ooh.
It's an Imperial IPA with
damn,
Galaxy hops.
How'd you
Australia.
score one of those?
My super cool sister-in-law got me, took a trip to Hill Farmstead and hooked me up.
Oh, shit.
She brought me back some cans and some bottles. So, hit one of those bad boys.
All right, well, tonight we're talking about The House on Tombstone Hill, and we watched the Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah.
And the print that they used did have the title called The Dead Come Home, which is a good title. The House on Tombstone Hill doesn't make much sense, and Dead Dudes in the House makes even less sense.
Wait, how does The House on Tombstone Hill not make sense?
Yeah, there's a tombstone.
There's a tombstone, but is it called is the house on Tombstone Hill, or is it just a hill with a tombstone? I don't even think it was really a hill.
You're asking if the name of the hill is canonical or if that's just a title.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a good question. That's a good question, and I think the rest of the conversation hinges on that.
What if it was called the tombstone that happens to be next to a house that's on a hill?
That the dudes are at.
That's pretty accurate, at least. The dudes and the two women that are with them.
How about Dude Stones in the House on Haunted Hill? Nope, that's the wrong thing. That's a board game. How did we learn about this one many movies? Who brought this one into us?
Yeah, this one was my choice. I had bought the Blu-ray, like I said, from Vinegar Syndrome. I blind bought it, and I watched it. I think I watched it last year, and I really liked it. At the time, it was fun. The gore is pretty solid. So I wanted to have fun with our first episode after our anniversary.
Yeah.
Do something that's
good.
Just stupid.
Well, then it's all downhill. It's all nostril pickers after that.
Yeah. No, I think you did a great job. I think this was fun.
Same.
I'm looking forward to breaking it down. There's a couple scenes in here that I'm pumped to talk about.
I did love the cover art for Dead Dudes in the House. It was like your typical like 90s hip hop comedy art.
Yeah, it looks like a Kid and Play movie. Like,
yeah, like House is with like a little house graphic, and it's like tilted to the side, and everybody's in like hip hop clothing. And we were talking.
All the actors on the cover are not in the movie at all.
So you're saying the cover's like a 90s drug PSA?
Basically,
that's what keeps coming to my mind.
Yeah, or like a Real World cover or something like that. So Troma had bought it, right? It's a Troma release, but it's not a Troma film, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about the movie enough. Let's hop in and talk about the movie for another hour.
Yeah, let's do this.
Now let's get to the plot.
So 1989's The House on Tombstone Hill, directed by James Riffel, or Rifle, I don't know.
I like Riffel.
Riffel, Mr. Riffel, opens up on the Prince title screen called The Dead Come Home. The movie starts in 1948 with a young blonde girl drinking, I believe it's milk.
Looks like milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Well, when you say it like that, I have to wonder what you were thinking.
Yeah, what if it's not milk? What do you think it was?
I don't know, just maybe some, like, cloudy water.
Okay, all right. Let's stick with that. Anyway.
You never know. It's 1948. They were doing some wild stuff back then. And speaking of wild stuff, we also see an old lady holding a knife and a dead guy on the ground covered in blood. And the old lady is just walking back and forth in the, like, living room or parlor or whatever until we hear a record scratch. And we jump 40 years into the future, the far distant future of 1988.
Whoa!
Hey, whoa, it's radical now.
Yeah. When the movie opened on that 48 title sequence, I was a little concerned. It's like, oh, I thought this was going to be an 80s slasher. I thought I had the wrong movie or something. So 40 years later is a welcome sight. Can we talk about that opening shot just for a second?
Do it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I think I texted you guys that it was like Norman Rockwell via David Lynch. It's this like slow, creeping, ominous shot that like starts on the young girl's face and pulls back until it's like this idyllic scene in a little, American house with a window in the back, and they're like perfectly center framing, and like the whole shot's like beautiful. It was great. I thought it was a really intriguing opening shot, and I was hooked from the get-go.
Yeah, it was staged really nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it was like the girl with the milk, the pacing grandmom, the knife, the dead body. Like it just kept zooming out, boop, 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 until it revealed the entire scene. If we were doing a hip hop movie, when the record scratched, that's when like Biz Markie would come in and sing the dead dudes in the house theme song. But missed opportunity on that one.
You are absolutely right. That would have been amazing. All right, so now we're in 1988. We've got our group of main characters. They show up at an old rundown house. One of the group, Mark, bought this old house, and they're all there to fix it up, apparently over a weekend.
Sorry, spoiler alert, that's going to take longer than a weekend to fix that house.
Yeah, that's what I was implying.
Yeah, let me just
the
say
house
straight.
is pretty run down.
Also, it is the ugliest haunted house I think I've seen in one of these movies. How would you guys describe this house, like the shape of it?
A box. With two with two columns on either side with way too many windows.
And the windows are like off the edge, like they go like
Yeah.
around the corner of the house.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they built those columns on the edge of a normal house and we're just like, now it's a mansion. Like
They
if
must
it was,
have.
because who's got a house like that? So weird looking, right?
I put in my notes, I thought it looked like a Space Invader with like two antennae off on either side, like they're guns.
yeah.
Like the sequel to this would be an alien invasion movie, and they have to pilot the haunted house to kill the aliens.
Yeah, the windows were like, like you said, were like touching the edges of the columns. Real weird.
Yeah, weird house. I give this house 1 stab for being ugly.
Agreed.
Not just on the outside, but also on the inside,
Yeah.
because it was completely falling apart.
I did like that guy's red burger hat.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but think it was like a magma hat as soon as he like came on screen. I was like, oh, there's the red hat guy. But it was a red burger.
I think did it say like Wonder Burger or something like
Oh,
that?
okay. Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the exact same
I couldn't read
reaction.
it the whole movie. We watched the same copy, and I couldn't read that.
Oh, I can't really read my notes, so it just says red burger hat. So you're probably the hat was red, but the word was burger. Yeah, it's gonna be like that this whole show. My notes suck today. I liked his reveal when he just like walks right into the frame from the right, whatever that character is.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was pretty cool.
Ooh, Burger Hat Joey?
Yeah, Burger Hat Joey.
Yeah.
There's like 5 or 6 times in this movie where they do that like early Spielberg thing where they have that first shot where all the actors are really blocked well and it's really well composed, and then a character will move towards the camera and like crouch to look at something or whatever, and the camera will follow them and rack focus, and there'll be like a second shot ready to go. Like whoever was behind the camera really had a lot of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. The shot blocking was awesome. Performances, not so much.
Yeah, not so great.
Not as good.
They were fine.
Yeah, you're right.
But
Except
our-
for
our-
Johnny Knoxville as the grandma. That was pretty awesome.
Pitch perfect.
Yeah. So our characters are, just so you know, names. We've got Ron, Bob, Mark, Steve, Jamie, and Linda, and Joey. Those are our 7 kind of main characters.
Oh boy.
White people in a house was the fourth title.
It was all just straight up 80s white people.
Yep.
Wearing baggy sweaters and glasses. Nobody wears glasses
The
anymore.
staple of the 80s.
Yeah. As they're walking around the yard, before going in the house, they find a gravestone for Abigail Leatherby. Bob, who is kind of our carpenter of the group, he's there to basically fix the whole house, and everybody else is there to help maybe or just watch him. Bob takes it upon himself to destroy the gravestone, and we cut to inside the house where an old woman wakes up in a rocking chair.
Abigail Leatherby, surviving as one daughter, Anne. May her soul be placed in peaceful hands.
Well, let's clear the garbage out now.
What do you...
The hell'd you do that for?
Yeah, you idiot. You should have just left it alone.
Bob, if it bothered you so much, we could have just covered it up with something.
Hey, what's the big deal anyway? It was just a stupid old rock.
You should have some respect. You really shouldn't have touched it.
Sometimes you are such a creep, Bob.
Maybe you woke her up, man. Right.
They also find what looked to me to be a very tiny noose hanging from a tree. It was a very thin rope.
Hey, I'm going to say it right now. Bob's an asshole.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Who just finds a tombstone and they're right away, they're just like, all right, well, we'll just smash this to bits. Nobody will know. It's fine. What a dick.
They're all
Yeah.
kind of I mean, Bob's especially a jerk, but they're all kind of jerky.
Yeah.
There wasn't a character that I liked, really. You know,
None of them
that I was
really
rooting
had a
for.
character. Like every character was just annoying in their own unique way. That was
Right,
pretty much
right,
it.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Bob gets a little bit better halfway through the movie. But I agree. Douchebag.
Douchebag. And it's an ongoing pattern. You have to if you're going to watch this movie, or I hope by this point you've already seen it, so we're not going to spoil it all for you. If you're going to watch this movie, all the actors talk so slow, and they all wait like 2 or 3 full seconds between each other's lines. That was a bit of a hurdle for me to get over early on. I don't know. Did you guys notice the like weird like line delivery?
Yeah. They're all like first time actors yeah.
Yeah. There's some cadence. I feel like the director was obsessed with those like long single shots, and this really needed an editor to come in and like chop and screw it into shape. So, hey, next time. 40 years later, Riffel, you can do a sequel.
You'll get him next time.
You get it, buddy.
Oh, man. All right, so our group of 80s teens start to go try to get into the house, but Bob finds out that nobody brought beer, and he makes a case that he can't work without beer.
I know what that feels like.
So I don't blame him.
Well, he says carpenter's tools are the hammer, the nail, and beer.
It was weird. He sprouted a third arm, and he held out a third arm when he said that.
But Bob, he's not going to work without beer, so he does send Joey back to town to go get some. They start trying to go in the front door, but the door's stuck, and they struggle to get in. But Ron,
for 5 minutes.
yeah,
Jesus.
for a while. But Ron, who apparently has magic hands, is able to get the door to open. Old magic hands, Ron.
I'm glad that they used this one scene to show us that this character is gentler than Ron. or than Bob. Sorry, I'm glad they used that one scene, and that they didn't make that point 4 or 5 more times throughout the course of this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad they showed some restraint and just did that once.
Yeah, and also it didn't add anything to his character because it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize. You're totally right.
Let's set this shit up for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, they set it up for they had to get 90 minutes on film. So, all right, we need another scene here. Let's make them open the door for 5 minutes.
Yeah. They're in the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they get in the house. They're setting up to start working on the house. They bring their sawhorses in and their toolboxes and all their other stuff. Ron and Bob get into an argument because Steve is whistling, and Bob hates it, and it's just a weird scene. But since Bob is there to basically seemingly do free labor for them, they end up kind of just tolerating him and just saying, like, don't be a dick, why are you a dick? But they're standing around the living room, and the old lady that we saw earlier shows up in the house. They tell her that she can't be there and she's got to leave, and she ends up walking off, and Mark goes after her to make sure that she leaves, but he ends up not being able to find her.
I do like, I think it's Bob. I have one of the quotes written down. He's like,
Hey, if she doesn't stop staring at us, I'm gonna go over there and smack her.
and then one of the girls is like, she is creepy, but she's standing right next to them as they're talking about her. It's pretty great.
How would you describe this grandma?
I think Eric did a good job by saying Johnny Knoxville, like when he's dressed up as the old man, like it just looks like that, but a woman.
Yeah. I think it's one of the dudes in makeup, one of the actors. Like, I don't know which one. In fact, I know it is. I just don't know which actor it is. He's playing dual roles.
There's a Douglas Gibson does Mark, and then a Daryl Gibson does the old lady. So maybe they just switched it up in the credits to be cheeky between Daryl and Doug.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. It's definitely a dude in makeup.
I know Mark. Mark dies pretty early, so that's probably why he plays the old lady.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, it says Douglas Gibson, Mark/old lady.
Awesome.
There you go.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. I didn't notice that. All right. Yeah. So Mark goes off looking for himself as an old lady, and everyone else decides that they want to go outside for fresh air. But they can't get the front door to open. They can't get the back door to open. This house is made of doors that aren't doors. That don't function as doors.
See, the trick is you got to be gentle with them. You have to have a gentle hand. They established that early on, and
but Ron had the opportunity to open the door to get outside and couldn't do it. So it's not even about being gentle anymore. Now it's doors aren't doors.
Yeah,
doors don't work.
I wrote in my notes that the moment where all the characters realize like the house has trapped us, like we are stuck here. I thought that was kind of a cool moment. The house kind of felt like a Venus flytrap at that moment. Like, ooh,
yeah,
it's gotcha. You're done.
That's with the windows. I think they realized. Yeah, and we'll get to that shortly.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping the gun.
I was getting some like mother vibes. Like once you're inside the house has you, and there's like,
oh yeah,
like you can't escape. And
is that what happens in Mother? I've never watched Mother.
Oh well, that's not the whole. No, that's like
I don't
least
care.
Important part of
the movie came out like a decade ago at this point. So
yeah, Bob's delivery, because he's just like sarcastically pissed off and snarky. He reminds me of the dude from Clerks. I don't know any of the Clerks. I'm not really a big Kevin Smith fan.
The video store guy?
Yeah, the video store guy. He just like reads his lines really slowly and poorly and has like a snarky sarcasm. He reminds me exactly like that dude from Clerks.
Yeah, I can see it.
They should have brought Willie T in from Psycho Pike to play Bob.
Yeah. Willie T should have been the grandma. Would have been awesome.
All right, yeah, so they can't get outside. Mark is walking around upstairs trying to find the old lady, and as he's walking down the hallway, we see a shot of an old hand holding a pair of scissors, and it cuts back downstairs. Jamie, who is Mark's girlfriend, goes looking for Mark, and she finds the broken tombstone from outside. Now it's inside on a bed, and there's blood all over the walls. The old lady shows up and says that she's killed Mark. and that there was a lot of blood and, and all this stuff. I actually liked her dialogue there.
I know about your boyfriend.
What about my boyfriend?
He's dead.
What do you mean?
I didn't know. I killed him. Quite gruesome, actually. He was kicking, screaming for such a long time. But now it's over.
I don't believe you.
Where do you think all that blood came from? It's your boyfriend's blood.
Her dialogue delivered with the voice of an anime Yoda.
Yeah. I didn't even think that's great.
Yeah, that's exactly what she sounds like. I actually looked that up, and her voice was VO'd by a woman, and I really thought through the whole thing that it was just the dude in makeup making an old lady voice.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
oh, really?
I was shocked that there was a VO like, actor for them. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, because it definitely just sounded like a young guy doing an old lady voice.
Are you ready, Greg? Actually, I think I just did better.
They could have saved a lot of money if they just let the dude do his job. You know?
Yeah.
The broken tombstone was a little Halloween-y. You know?
Yeah. Little bit, yeah. All right, yeah. So Jamie's able to get away from the old lady because she found a broken piece of wood and threatens to bash the old lady's head in. But as she's leaving, she comes across Mark, who is now covered in blood. He starts telling Jamie that, they can't leave. There's no reason to leave. They're all going to fix up the house and stay there forever. And that he's going to bash her head open. But I like that he looks like he's in pain, but also he's being real snarky and coughing up blood and everything. I thought that was really cool. They definitely went hard on the blood in this movie.
Oh, yeah. It's great. Oh, no, yeah, his line, I mean, you already mentioned it, but he asked her where she's going, and he's like, are you going to the mall? We need knickknacks. Are you going to buy doilies?
Where are you going, huh? Are you going to the mall? Huh, Jamie? Gonna do a little shopping? That's good. We need knickknacks. Lots of knickknacks. Maybe some doilies even. That would be nice. You always were good at spending someone else's money, weren't you? Having no responsibility at all.
And then he's like, what's going on inside your head? I'm going to bash your skull so I can have a look-see. It's pretty great.
It is.
And his delivery is pretty great.
I honestly think everybody delivers their lines better when they're dead.
Yes!
Yeah,
they totally do.
Yeah, they're like enjoying being the villains and getting into their role more because their actual characters suck.
Yeah.
It's so stark. It's not just it is so much better when they're zombies. It had me wondering if the director told them that when they're human they should be flat. Like try to be flat here so that the contrast is really strong because they're so much better. They're like different performers when they're in makeup.
Totally agree.
And honestly, I think when you're wearing when you have makeup or you're playing a character that is no longer really you, you can't really necessarily relate to it. I feel like you just have more fun and you have to push it a little bit further.
Greg, are you wearing your dragon costume right now?
Roar!
Is your face painted purple?
I want to see a sequel to this movie where it's the actors from the movie. It's very meta, and they all just chose to move into the house and stay in their zombie makeup. And just over the course of the first season, we see them all slowly going mad and trying to reapply their makeup and maybe tearing off their own skin. That'd be awesome. Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's
do that, James Riffel. You got your second one.
Come on. Make this movie. Imagine how many more stuck doors there could be in a TV show. Every episode you can have 5.
Oh my god, this fucking doors in this movie.
How many stuck window or door sequences do we get in this movie?
The worst part is that when they left the room, they would shut the door. Where it's just just keep it open. No. Just keep the doors open.
Well, they did. They left it open a few times, and in those moments, the doors would slam shut behind them on their own.
All right, you got me. I guess it's better to just do the job for the ghosts.
I'm going to get on the ghost good side. I'm going to turn this poltergeist into a polternice.
I like when they're just like random shit at the windows. There's like pieces of wood and
Wait,
like
hold on, we're getting there.
it's like
hold on.
5 minutes of objects hitting windows.
Yeah,
Sorry to jump ahead.
Yeah, it's coming right up here.
Okay,
So
all right.
Jamie ends up hitting Mark with the piece of wood and knocking him out or killing him. Not really sure how the ghost zombie people work in this movie, because you definitely can kill them, but just hitting him in the face with a piece of wood obviously killed Mark, because we don't see him in the rest of the movie besides him being the old lady.
Yeah, the rules are a little loose.
Hey, the new rules just right. The house on Tombstone Hill.
Have we started smashing windows yet?
Yeah, so now we're back downstairs, and the rest of our group of miscreants are trying to break the windows to get out. They're back in like the main room that they were in earlier, but nothing's working. There's like hitting it with wood that just explodes on impact. I think somebody throws a chair at it.
Yeah.
A lot of just punching glass.
Which was fun to watch. I mean, it's really obviously an easy effect. It was done like in I don't know, community theater kind of level production quality, but it was fun to watch. So I didn't realize that I think my thing is watching people pound a window to make it break, and it just never breaks. It was weirdly satisfying. This is my ASMR.
You should do a YouTube channel, Dan. Just things going against windows that don't break.
It's called Never Pass This Glass.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, they don't smash any glass. They attempt to smash all the glass, and not a single window breaks. The shutters outside start going crazy by themselves.
Evil Dead.
They're like slamming shut, like open and shut, and then they just slam shut completely, cutting out a lot of the light in the room.
Cool effect.
Yeah, it's very Evil Dead, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, in a good way.
It was like the house was laughing at them.
Yeah,
You know,
they just need a laugh track. Yeah.
We can get the invisible laughing crowd from.
Yes!
You were about to say that?
Yeah.
From
What's that?
Deadly New Year? Was that what it was called?
Oh, right.
Bloody New
Bloody
Year.
Yeah. That would have been
That's
perfect.
my least favorite part of that movie, and also possibly my favorite part of that movie.
I thought it was the
just
scariest
made no
part.
sense to me.
That part gave me anxiety.
It's so weird. But yeah, that would have been great.
The shot because like we said at the beginning, this house is like 80% windows and 20% tragedy. And the shot outside the building when all the shutters slam shut is the moment where I was like, that's a Venus flytrap.
Yeah, they're trapped.
Yeah.
You know, all the little flies are trapped. All right, so now they realize that they are officially trapped in the house. That they end up finding Jamie, and she tells them that Mark was killed by the old lady.
Sorry. It's so funny because it's such an absurd, the premise of this movie is absurd. That there's this like million-year-old old crotchety shaped like the letter C lady that looks frail, but she's like a super-powered, ultra-strong slasher killer. So you have these moments where a character tells another character, or one character asks the other character, like, where's the old lady? Did you find the old lady? And then she just flatly answers, the old lady killed Mark. And neither of them really react at all.
No. Mm-mm.
Well,
Yeah.
it actually gets weirder because, yes, she says the old lady killed Mark, and then she goes, and then she says something about, like, I saw Mark, and I had to kill him, or something like that. It's just like, wait, who killed Mark? I thought Mark was dead.
It's totally confusing. It's like that they didn't have a script, and the director was just shouting lines from behind the camera.
I mean, it makes sense in the movie because Mark was dead, but he was still
alive as
a ghost zombie
Zombie.
monster Mark. Yeah. Like, I don't even know if we can refer to them as zombies because I don't know if they're always there.
Yeah.
So Joey, in the next scene, just comes back with the beer, but he can't get in the house. Back inside, everybody starts getting like tools and weapons to protect themselves. I actually think it's kind of cool. Bob makes this like makeshift knife for Steve, and he like wraps like a leather belt around like a saw blade.
Yeah,
that was a cool weapon.
Right. Yeah, it's like a circular saw blade. Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah, so they're getting prepared to to fight the old lady. Joey, meanwhile, gets a ladder and starts climbing up to a second floor window. because it was the only window where the shutters were open and there was a light on. But as he gets up there, his hands are on the windowsill, and the old lady, I'm not sure what I don't remember what she uses. I assume a knife or a machete or something.
It's
but
machete,
she chops, she chops off his fingers on both of his hands, and he ends up falling to the ground. And then she takes like a metal pipe and just like throws it out the window and impales him in the chest and kills him.
If it wasn't already like bad enough that his hands were chopped off. Oh man, when that metal rod hit his chest, they did a blood spurt, and you could hear it. It was like shooting the blood out.
Yeah.
Like, you know how they do it with like the pneumatic tubes or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they just left that sound in because it sounded like sort of artificial, but it was cool. Like
it was
hear
awesome.
It, like, gurgling. Really
you hear
cool.
it a couple times in the movie. Anytime there's a blood spurt, you can hear it.
I love how after that kill, she fluffs her hair. Like she takes one hand and gives it a little boop boop. Like she's badass, you know.
I love that whole sequence when he's begging her, like, give me a hand, and then she just chops both his hands in half. And then the best part was after he hits the ground, she like flicks the hands off the windowsill, and they fall down and land next to him. So you just see him there with these like his fingers aren't chopped off, his hands are cut like across the middle of the palm.
Right,
so
that's
the
right.
severed
Yeah,
finger,
you're right.
they're all still connected by like the severed knuckle. Yeah,
because his hands were still holding on, like it wasn't just fingers there. Yeah, you're right.
It was awesome. It was a cool effect.
Yeah, it was great.
And I thought it looked amazing.
It looked
too.
real.
Same.
It looked fucking real.
Poor Joey lost his hands for this movie.
Don't do it, man.
Yeah, the kills are the best. Are the best thing, and there's a ton of them. You know.
All right, so Joey and Mark are now dead. The rest of the friends are in the house, and they go looking for the old lady. Steve ends up getting separated outside a room because he wasn't quite in the room yet, and the door slammed shut. And if you've listened to us at all in this episode, you know that doors aren't doors when they close.
This is wall now.
So obviously they can't get the door open. The old lady comes up to Steve. She's about like 8 feet away and tells Steve to come with her because it's his turn. I
Nice.
love that.
Me too.
Same.
Come on,
What?
it's your turn.
What are you talking about?
It's your turn.
Steve!
What? She's walking away.
She often doesn't like attack. She just kind of is weird, especially like in the first half of the movie. She's just uncomfortable.
Well, I like to think that she knows how everything's going to play out with each character and how they're all going to die. Like it's all she's got it predetermined or figured out or something, you know. Maybe not. Maybe not. But
I mean, I think that's there to be interpreted there. Like
Yeah.
that line means that she knows. And there's even later on, there's two characters we haven't met yet that just randomly pop into the middle of the movie.
Yep.
And I don't know, Eric, you saying that she's hunting these people or like she knows how this is all going to transpire? It makes me wonder if there's also a little bit of like a what's it called when you're like supernaturally drawn into something? Like like a vampire has the ability to like make you
it like charms you.
Oh,
yeah. There's like a word for that, but it's almost like the house has that effect on the people.
Well, it's kind of like a siren song.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. The reason I mention it is because she's clearly waiting to kill him in a very specific way, and knows how it's going to play out, you know, and is kind of toying with him. So, I figured maybe she already knew how it was going to end up.
It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. She was creepy and unpredictable and kind of unreadable in a fun way, but she was never scary. She was definitely funny to me. I wasn't really scared by her much though. I just wanted to see her work. I was excited for that.
Yeah. Steve starts going after the old lady to find her, but he ends up finding Joey, our handless pole man. I like that. Joey, I think he said something like, "Oh, do I look different? Oh, it's probably this pole through my chest." And he like pulls the pole out.
And he goes, "That's a pole."
Kind of makes like a fart noise when it pops out of his chest. So it's
It must be this big pole in my chest. Wait a minute. Now that's a pole.
Again, simple effect, but done really well. Really well edited.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. So Joey tells Steve that, hey, you know what? She's coming for you. You're next. Steve finds the old lady, but the old lady attacks him. Like he tries to like back away and he falls down. The old lady jumps on him, nails his hands and feet to the floor with like screwdrivers and bolts and whatever. She's got a lot of tools. I assume she took it from Bob's
Spilt
toolbox.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then we see her with a like a circular saw, but we don't see the kill. We just hear Steve screaming a lot and then not screaming anymore.
I wonder why that is.
Yep. Well, he got tired.
He fell asleep.
It takes a lot out of him.
Isn't that how you go to bed? You just scream and scream until you fall asleep.
The last couple of years, it seems that way.
Yeah.
Him on the ground was a cool shot. It was like out of focus on purpose, and like his head was on the left side of the screen, and then he kind of like got cut off, and she was in the background, and you could just see her hand holding the saw, but the saw was in focus.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really well done.
They also had a wide shot where he just looked like a butterfly, like pinned inside one of his display cases.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the director, what's his name? Riffel. Mr. Riffel.
James Riffel.
Talented director. I really thought a lot of the shots in this movie were chef's kiss. Well done. This was a fun scene. You know what? We're gonna meet this character again in a little bit, and I want to know your guys' theory on what exactly she did to him, because that wasn't clear to me. As an aside, I loved every moment where I know Steve just died, and we can mourn poor Steve. He was such a fun wimp character. His only character attribute was that he was the biggest wimp of all of them. And there's this shot where there's just the little old lady at the end of the hall, and he's just cowering and trembling and like can barely keep his knees like from buckling. It was great. It was fun.
This old woman is not little. She's like 6'5".
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
She's like
It's
bent
a great
over.
image. Yeah.
She's taunting him the whole time. She's like, well, ain't you gonna use it? With his blade. Also, when she's like got him splayed out on the ground and pinned down, and she's on top of him, she's just laughing the whole time as she's like torturing him. It's pretty cool.
And she also like very much moved like a ninja in that. Like she was very spry while stabbing him in the feet and hands.
Right.
Again, she does the Yoda thing. You know, in the
That's true. You're right.
Attack of the Clones, when Yoda pulls out his little lightsaber and goes to town.
That's true.
He goes back to walking with his cane. One of the greatest betrayals of a classic character of all time. But that's not this movie.
About Star Wars a lot on this.
I know.
podcast.
I don't know why. I don't think about Star Wars that much, but I guess I'm just repressing it. It just leaks
I'd
out
love
here.
it, but-
Sorry, guys.
All right. So now Steve is dead. We have Bob, Ron, Linda, and Jamie. They're all still in the room, but as soon as Bob stops screaming, you hear the door click, and now the door is a door again, and they can get out of the room. They go looking for Steve, but they just see a room covered in blood, and they end up walking out of the room. And as he leaves the room, Bob like shuts the door behind him, and that's when I noticed that I was like, why are they doing that? Leave that door open in case you need to get in and out of
They
it.
put furniture in the easeway so the door cannot close.
Yeah. He's like being polite. Well, I guess I should shut the door behind me.
Like they figured out the situation like after Steve died. Like they commented saying like, oh, the screaming stopped and I heard the door click. Like at that point you're saying like, all right, well, if she's killing somebody, you're going to be locked in wherever you are.
Right. It's going to play out the way she wants it to play out, and she can use the house to make it happen. I think it was this next scene where it kind of becomes a pattern where after somebody dies, the room that they died in is like covered in blood. But I don't know if you noticed, like I take issue with the blood. Whoever controlled the blood splatter effect on this set.
I agree.
You could almost like see the handprints of whatever extra was just running around with ketchup in their palm and smacking it on the walls. And it wasn't on any furniture. It was just on the walls behind the furniture. Yeah, not the best. Not the best. But I did like that as more and more people die, like as the movie goes farther along, more and more rooms are just covered in blood. So by the end, when they're running through the house, everything's just covered in blood. I thought that was cool. That's neat.
Yeah. That's how I want my house.
Yeah. Covered in blood.
Covered in blood. I love blood. I'm a blood boy.
I also want my house like that, and it's not currently. I also do not currently have a house covered in blood and would like that in the future. It's not how it is right now. What I'm saying is we should stop talking about this. I don't know why you brought this up. What are you accusing me of exactly? Sorry, we should get back on the topic.
I'm accusing you of bringing in these 2 new characters in the movie for no reason.
Let's cut to a different movie.
Yeah.
With silhouettes in a field. Like, I was like, what happened? Did somebody record over this VHS tape or something?
Dude, I rewound it because I completely lost the plot at that moment.
Yeah, it was so weird. Yeah, we cut to just 2 young, teen boys sitting around in a field. They're silhouetted against, the night sky. Their names are Ricky, and I don't think they ever say this character's name, but IMDb lists him as the letter S. So, Ricky and S.
Nice.
Ricky wants to go to the old Leatherby house, and S doesn't want to, but they're friends, so they end up they decide to go to the old Leatherby house together to check it out. We cut back to our 4 remaining heroes.
I'm sorry, I really hate to interrupt you one more time. I just want to point out these 2 teenage boys have the worst relationship ever. I can feel the hatred they have for each other just emanating off of them through the whole movie. I don't know if you guys picked up on that at all, but when the one kid was telling the other one, "What do you want to do tonight?" He was like, "Oh, I want to go to that haunted house." And the kid was like, "Absolutely not. I'm not doing that." And the other guy was like, "Well, you're not my friend," and just starts leaving for a haunted house. What an asshole.
Yeah. It's like, if you're my friend, you'll come with me.
Yeah. I mean, but they were also just at night, just sitting in folding chairs in the middle of a field.
Right. Yes.
I assume there ain't that many people around to be friends with in whatever town this is.
That's a good point.
Maybe Tombstone Hill doesn't have quite the teen population, in their high school.
Come to think of it, he's sitting in a lawn chair, reclining back like he's getting a tan.
It's so weird.
But it's night. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Anyway.
You were a teen boy once. You just wanted to be comfortable.
I wanted that moon tan. I wanted that sweet, sweet blue glow. Never got it.
Yeah. Well, we do got Ricky and S in the movie now. They'll come back in a little bit. So yeah, we've got our 4 heroes. Who are they? Ron, Bob, Linda, and Jamie. They're in the basement. They find some old news clippings about the house and what happened there.
Mrs. Leatherby was attacked in her home by a man who entered through an unlocked front door. The man stabbed her 37 times, 12 times in the neck. Miraculously, Mrs. Leatherby lived.
If you're stabbed in the neck 12 times, your neck is mostly whole, right?
Yeah. Unless it's a really tiny knife and it's just the same hole over and over again.
A really careful murderer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the whole time, just be like, okay, just try to get it back in there. Okay, hold still. It's like pulling it back out.
Monopoly knife you get with a board game. It's going to take a while.
Or does he just stick it in one time and wiggle it around a bunch, and the corner's like, we'll call each wiggle a stab.
That's what your wife says.
That's good.
That's
true.
But Abigail Weatherby's attacker would rate this movie 37 stabs. So that's good.
That is true.
Fair enough.
So after 8 months, she was able to come home. But she was later arrested because a neighbor came over to check on her, and she ended up stabbing him 37 times, including 12 in the neck, and killing him. So the neighbor was less strong than a little old lady.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
And I guess that's the opening shot of the movie, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Abigail then died of a heart attack 2 days later, and her daughter buried her in the backyard and then proceeded to hang herself.
Yeah, dark.
It's
pretty dark.
Yes, Jesus.
Yeah.
It really escalates in the murder-suicide kind of things there.
I really wanted to see the milk come back into play somehow.
It almost does.
It's so close.
All right, so now our two young lonely boys, Ricky and S, they break into the house through the basement. Meanwhile, Linda is walking around upstairs. She finds Steve sitting in a room by himself. He says that he's really hurt. The old lady really kind of messed him up, but he was able to cut her up really good. And she goes to find she wants to go find everybody else, but he's just like, oh, don't leave, like, hold me one more time. So she comforts him, and he ends up stabbing her in the back with the circular saw knife weapon that he had earlier. So poor Linda is just trying to comfort her boyfriend and ends up getting murdered. So now Linda is also dead. We're whittling our group down.
Hey, I'm just going to throw it out there. If you were to make a circular saw blade, for one thing, in my head, if you say homemade circular saw weapon, I see a circular saw standing straight up from the handle, so that it's more like a knife. And the way this is situated, like, it's flat on your fist as you're holding the handle. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Either way,
like across your knuckles almost.
Yeah.
Like it's riding across your,
Yeah.
It's like one of those, like, party noisemakers that you spin around in your hand, but it's just a circular saw blade. Either way, it's a slashing tool, and people only use it to stab people in this movie. And that drove me crazy.
That is true.
I don't know how you're going to stab somebody with the blade of a saw, but I guess with enough force, anything's possible.
But it did look cool as hell. Like, it was a cool looking weapon.
It was, and it has a great send-off. Worthwhile for that one shot.
You know how we were talking about how, like, all the actors were better when they were dead?
Yeah.
And they're all sort of, like, taunting their friends at that point, and they're all in the makeup and everything. It just occurred to me, they remind me of, like, the friend in American Werewolf in London that dies.
Yes!
And he comes back, and he's sort of, like, joking around and screwing with his buddy, and he's decaying over time. But it gave me that same sort of feeling, the dead kids.
Exact same makeup and everything. Just half the effort. But yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
Really poorly done.
Dude,
but
nail on the head. I knew I recognized that whole look from something. That's
it. I think it's just their attitude, too. They're, like, kind of joking around and fucking with everybody,
And like, well, so Dan mentioned something earlier where, last we saw Steve, the old lady was standing above him with, like, a circular saw running. And so when we see Steve now, he's dead, but all he is just, like, kind of cut up a little bit. Like, I assumed his head was going to be cut
That's
off.
why I was asking about that. Because when he stopped screaming, I was like, oh, we're going to have a scene where they find, like, scarecrows. They're going to find his head in the refrigerator or something. But no, yeah, they see him and he's just got some slashes on his face. That was it.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it didn't look fun. Like, that would have really hurt.
But yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Not enough to necessarily kill you. Like, though, when it's possible that maybe his head was cut off, because when we see Joey earlier, like after he's back from the dead and he's zombie ghost Joey, his hands are like back on, but you could see where it was cut off. So I wonder if we watch it again, like maybe you could see like some like cut across Joey's or Steve's neck.
That'd be
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But how deep the cuts look across his face? It could be like the cuts run from like under his chin, on either side of his neck, like from under his chin, kind of up to the forehead on both sides of his face. And I wonder, if she like circular sawed the sides of his head off, so that he just had a neck that went into like a mouth up to like his nose, and then he had like an eye on either side.
Nice.
Like, if that's what they did, that's what I'm imagining he would have looked like, and I would have loved to have seen that. Don't leave that to my imagination. Show it. To me.
I'm watching it now. He doesn't have a big cut across his neck, but yeah, that like scar going down his face.
It's like she cut his head. She split him in twine, as it were. At this point, I was really sad because you know me and decapitations. I love me a good decapitation. We'll come back to that note later.
Yeah, at least one of us gets our one thing that we need.
Wait, what was Eric's one thing? Oh, Eric's one thing is that
Nuns?
it's nuns. I thought it was
No,
Jaws connection.
Oh no, yeah, I think it was Jaws.
Yeah. This is not a Jaws ripoff, unless you think the old lady's the shark somehow.
No.
She's kind of a shark, but we see her a lot and she talks.
Just like the shark. Yeah, that's it. We got it.
All right, so now that Linda's dead, this movie's just going to start chugging along. So we cut to Bob, Ron, and Jamie. They find a window somewhere on the second or third floor or whatever that
It's
they
a
can
trap.
open. But before they go out the window, they go search for Linda, and they find her in another room. And they're like, come on, we found a way out. And Linda's just like, I think I want to stay. So they pretty much figure out that she's dead. And Bob beats her with a golf club.
She also has, she's got a little blood on her teeth, but she doesn't really do anything.
Yeah,
except
that's about it.
She's like slightly creepy, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to club her ass right in the head.
We'll be safe.
And everyone's like, yeah, we didn't like Linda anyway. She's kind of annoying. Let's just not take our chances.
The only experience with the dead that they've had so far is like they talked to them.
Yes.
Like that's about it.
Right.
So
right.
The fact that Bob just like brains her.
Right. That's right. Yeah. She's like sitting in a chair, like she's completely vulnerable, you know?
For all they know, she could just be wounded or hurt.
Right.
Yeah, she could have a concussion and not know what she's thinking.
You know what? I think it's in line with Bob's character to have the thought, she might be dead, she might not be, so we should kill her to be sure.
Yeah. It is.
I think that makes sense. And let's be fair, Bob hasn't had his beer yet today, so
that's true. He's very cranky.
Yeah. He's not there yet, you know.
Linda could just have really bad hygiene, like her gums are just bleeding or something. You know? She just flossed for the first time in like months.
And she died because of it.
Well, she shouldn't have been dating Steve.
Yep.
That was her problem.
Now she's got the ultimate plaque, a gravestone.
That was both fantastic and terrible.
Yeah,
that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, same time.
All right, so Bob has double killed Linda. The 3 surviving people so far go back to the window, and Bob starts going through it. But we see that the window has all this like sharp glass at the very bottom.
Some good tension building back and forth with the glass.
And before Jamie can warn him, because she sees it, the window falls and impales him. And this scene just goes completely over the top in the best possible way, because the window just starts like going up and down on its own, just like slamming into him, and he's screaming like,
it's
"I
chewing
hate
him.
this house!" Yeah, it's chewing him. Yeah,
it's bouncing up and down on him. Yeah, and he's complaining.
Yeah.
And the window, it's not the window that's cutting him up. It's the glass like slid out from the. Like it's not the window frame. It's glass sticking out below the window frame. Yeah. And the glass is totally shaped like teeth. It absolutely looks like the window is chewing him. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, it does a good job because it chews him right in half, and his legs, like his leg portion, just falls out the window to the ground, and it's still like kicking, and you just see all the guts and everything. It's so cool.
So fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was like the best kill in the movie.
Absolutely.
It was so good.
But I thought it was, I laughed so hard.
So did I. I was audibly laughing out loud at this. It was great.
He's just screaming about how he hates the house.
Yeah. This goddamn
so good.
All I wanted was a beer.
I'm beside myself.
This would kill in a movie theater. This scene, it would kill at like an X Fest or a Horror Fest.
Man, I would love to see this movie at X Fest. Oh, that would have been like, come on, Colonial's got to show this. That would be so much fun. This would be such a good crowd movie. Every time that grandma comes on screen.
Every time that hot grandma.
I just want more of that grandma.
Just drink every time she comes on scene.
Now, Dan, could she be your grandma?
Could she be my grandma?
Yeah.
She could be. She might be my grandma.
So we got Orville Ketchum's your boy.
He's your son.
It's my son.
Your son, yeah, and then she's your grandma.
You know, I think I can answer your question there, Greg. By looking at my notes, I just realized that never once do I say the grandmom. I always just say grandmom. Grandmom has moves. Let's see. Grandmom's behind the door. Oh, no, she's not.
They already have an affection for her. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've imprinted on her. I think
Nice.
she's my grandma.
We'll build
Nice.
out your family over time.
Yeah.
This year.
You know,
and
if
then
my
we'll
real
just make a
grandma is
movie.
listening, if my real
yeah.
grandma is listening, hi grandma, you're my grandma too.
Yeah. We don't want to
But
offend.
she's also grandma for all of us.
Well, yeah, if you kill somebody, you'll be my grandma like this grandma.
Maybe this could be your mom.
My Meemaw.
Your Meemaw.
All right.
Yeah.
My real life grandma is now Meemaw, and this grandma has taken the title of grandma. Sorry, grandma.
Taken the title.
You have to break the news to her this weekend.
She's stolen that title like she's stolen my maternal affection, my grand maternal affection. She's my grandma.
It happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Bob is dead. So our original group, we're down to Ron and Jamie, but we still have Rick and S walking around the house.
Jesus.
And they're walking around, and they hear humming coming from a room, where they enter, or they kind of peer through the door, and they see the old lady's young daughter Anne, who was drinking milk at the beginning of the movie.
Pour that
now
milk all over
doesn't-
yourself. I thought she was gonna like slowly pour milk and like turn those guys on.
No,
But she does try to turn them on. She tells the guys to come in the room. She says that she's surprised that her mother hasn't found them yet and killed them because they don't usually get this far.
I guess you haven't seen my mother yet.
Your mother?
Yes, she's around here somewhere. I'm surprised you made it all the way to my room.
What are you talking about?
It usually doesn't take her long to kill people.
And Anne is distracting them because she's just in like
Bra.
pajama pants and a bra.
Yeah.
And she starts like unclasping the front of the bra, and right before this movie could get 10 stabs, the old lady comes in and slashes at Ricky's face, and he goes down. She throws S against the wall. He hits his head, but the old lady just sits down. S gets back up, and he's kind of weirded out. And the old lady opens the door. Ricky stands up and basically is just like,
Rick, you're alive!
No, I'm dead.
and he walks out the door
Yeah.
and leaves, and we don't see Ricky again.
Nope. Off
Like
to
the-
the great beyond.
I like to think he's just wandering in silhouette through that field by himself,
He just sits
Just
back
sitting
down
in
in
the
that lawn
lawn
chair.
staring at the moon.
Actually,
this
you know
is
what?
my
He does
dead
get his
chair
blue
now.
tan. He gets his blue moon tan by dying. Yay! He had a character arc.
Yay, Ricky.
Good
Good
job,
for
buddy.
you, Ricky.
You know, at this point, because they introduce those two characters and then they disappear, and then we cut back to the scene where they meet like the younger ghost, who we also never really see again.
Yep.
And at this point, I thought, oh, these two kids, this is a flashback. Like I was thinking, like, oh, this is like the kids, or maybe one of these boys is like the child of the original murderer that was stabbed to death, and then they're gonna flash forward and there'll be zombies or something. But no, none of that. None of
Oh, dude, that would have
happens.
been cool. Yeah.
That would have been great, yeah.
If like there was still a zombie of like the original killer in the house, and they had to find him and like stab him in the heart to break the curse. No, none of that shit happens. None of that shit happens.
No, they were just young boys that wanted to get in the house.
Yeah.
Yep.
At the same time as other people were in the house.
And they peeped on a little girl that was just there for some TNA, but we never got any. And then all these characters don't matter except for one at the very end.
Huh.
Oh.
Yeah, but not really.
Yeah. Fair point. Never mind.
Yeah. All right, so S is able to leave the room as well because all the dead people left. Ron, he runs down. I guess S is trying to get out the front door, and Ron hears a commotion. Ron runs down. They start like fighting because Ron doesn't know who this guy is. This new, young, handsome boy in the house.
Yeah. Is this your son, Greg?
Oh man, I'm sorry. Did I overanalyze that? But we hear Jamie scream from upstairs, so Ron runs to her. He finds her sitting on the ground. She says that she's okay. The old lady was here, but she scared her off. But as they start walking out the door, Jamie is walking behind Ron. We see that she's been stabbed in the back with a pair of scissors. So
nice.
She's dead.
This is the second time someone with completely pale skin who's zombified has tricked an actual live person into thinking that they were also alive.
Did you notice it? Well, I guess we haven't gotten there yet. I don't know how she died so quickly from a pair of scissors in the back.
Yeah.
Maybe it like really long scissors and they punctured her heart.
That could be.
Maybe she died of a broken heart like Padme, like Queen Amidala.
We keep bringing this back to Star Wars.
Had to do it. That's all I got. I know weird horror and Star Wars.
That's all we're good at is just forever culture touch points that never change. And we're all going to die hollow shells of what we used to be.
Like a chocolate bunny at Easter.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you guys. I'm watching new horror too. So, you know what?
Yeah, me too. New horror's great.
I watch new Star Wars like Boba Fett and The Mandalorian.
Now we're getting all defensive. I'm not dying hollow and alone. I'll die with my new horror movies too.
Yeah.
So we learn that Jamie is dead. And as Ron is walking in front of her, she goes to stab Ron with the scissors that she pulled out of her back. But S comes out and hits her in the face with a pole.
Bong.
So like it is kind of a little bit of a fight scene there. Jamie seemingly has more strength dead than alive, because she takes several punches to the face.
Yep, like a champ.
Yeah. But yeah, so S ends up killing her by hitting her in her head with a pole.
Yeah, you can hear it cracking when he bashes her head in. It's got some good Foley effects.
Oh wait, no, yeah. So he hits her with a pole and knocks her down. Sorry, I
piece
totally
of wood,
forgot.
right? Isn't it a piece of wood?
So
Yeah.
Ron, Jamie like gets back up to try to kill Ron, but S comes back and hits her in the head with some wood and then stabs her with the same wood.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you can hear it cracking.
Sorry, that scene was actually like longer than my brain could function right now. Even though I have it written down. All right, so so now we've got Ron and S. They're the only ones left alive. They end up getting attacked by zombie Steve. So there's a fight that ensues.
Oh,
Steve went.
Sorry, he's got his whistling, which is fantastic. He's whistling.
Yeah, that's a cool
moment. I love that, and he's got that
Comes
bloody.
back at the credits.
He's got the bloody smile. Everybody's got the bloody smile. I love that too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so Steve's winning for a while, but S stabs him in the head with his own, Steve's own makeshift saw knife. Again, like Dan said, a slashing weapon is used for stabbing. It shouldn't work, but I believe he gets stabbed. He gets stabbed in the head, and I forget what he says something like as he's dying.
Yes, the party's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just laughs. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and then dies. Yeah,
it's pretty great.
Pretty solid.
Did you notice on the wall behind him when he's dying is just 3 photos of presidents?
No.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just random. It was like FDR, Abe Lincoln, and somebody else I didn't recognize.
Nice.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's weird.
There's probably
It
some
is.
significance, like how the Coen brothers hide stuff in their films all the time.
I'm sure there's a lot of depth to this film.
Or maybe that's just something James Riffel wanted to do, but he only ended up making 7 movies.
I say I've been biting my tongue this whole time. I heard you use the word fight a couple of times and describing what happens in this movie.
Yeah, they're very well choreographed, incredible fights.
You're hurting my whole body. This movie does the cardinal sin of fight scenes in cheap movies. It's the grapple throwaway and then I'm stunned and I can't move for 2 seconds for no reason, and then we'll grapple and then we'll throw away and I'm stunned again. I can't move. I hated it. I just want Grandma to kill everybody. And see, look, I said Grandma. It's come so naturally. I just want Grandma to kill everybody, and I don't want to see him throw bad punches at each other. It's really frustrating. All the fisticuffs in this movie were a letdown. Except for when he punches the girl in the face like 4 times, and she's just still smiling. That was fun. That was good. More of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, so
Greg's impressed.
No. I think there's actually a good fight, a goodish fight coming up. But all right. So Zombie Steve's dead. Ron and S then leave that room, and they end up coming across Zombie Bob, who is put back together. And we actually have this weird 3-minute scene of Zombie Bob. His guts are hanging out because he got cut in half earlier. he's just like hitting the wall with like a hand axe, and then he grabs a beer and like drinks a bunch of beer. And why they didn't do this is beyond me, but I was hoping that when he drank, like it would have just spilled, like you'd see it like pouring out of his guts.
Like that would have
been so cool.
Like a Looney Tunes gag.
Yeah, I mean, it 100% would have been cartoony.
No,
but,
it would have been great. It would have been great.
But yeah, that doesn't happen. But yeah, so they end up running into Zombie Bob. Bob like just starts chopping up Jamie's body on the ground.
Yeah.
Like he cuts off her leg and things like that. But then he attacks Ron and S. Ron and S end up running into a room and trying to like barricade themselves, but Bob chops the door down with his axe. They quote unquote fight, and but Ron and S are able to kill him by knocking him down and smashing his skull with like a porcelain statue.
Yes.
But I did like when Bob had Ron up against the wall and Ron just like grabs his guts and like pulls some of it out, and he just goes like, "Oh my guts!"
He also throws a leg at him at one point. It's like the severed leg.
Oh man, it is so like the fact that they didn't go the cartoony route with the beer spilling out, but this whole like Bob fight was super cartoony.
Yeah. Well, the sound, like when he grabs his guts, like there's this great squishy Foley like sound, like the sounds are almost cartoony. You know, it was like completely over the top.
They needed that though.
Man, what great kills!
There are so many like head squishing scenes where you don't see the head squish, but the sound was enough to sell it. I do wish we saw some of these head squishes, but yeah, you're totally right. Also, did you guys notice there's this like little secret Bob character arc in this movie?
How so?
Well, when they first arrive at the house, Bob can't open the door, and he says, like, if I could get my toolbox open, I could get my hatchet and just chop this door down. And then in the next sequence, when there's another door that they can't open, again he says something like, all these doors, if I had my hatchet, I could just chop this door down. And then in this sequence here, they're locked in that room, and what does he do? He chops the door down. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. Bob has a little character arc. That's nice.
Huh.
That's pretty cool.
I see you, movie.
That's cool.
Is it?
I mean, for something that was going to be called Dead Guys in
the House,
hip hop house party or whatever the hell it was.
Dead dudes in the house.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it was something.
All right. Well, we are getting to the climax here because Ron and S are back to trying to get out of the house by breaking the windows, and again unsuccessfully. But the old lady finally shows up for them. And she is quite the fighter. She is stronger than the average bear.
I wrote in my notes, this has turned into WWE. Because it's a wrestling finale.
Well, like, she picks them both up by the throats at the same time and just, like, chucks them against the wall. She's just throwing them around the house. But she ends up, like, hurting S pretty bad. I think she, like, dug her nails into, like, his stomach. And she stabs Ron in the shoulder with a screwdriver. S at some point is able to get the screwdriver and he shoves it through the old lady's skull.
That was awesome.
And like,
it goes in
so
one ear and out the other ear. Yeah.
And like she's like screaming and then she just grabs it and just pulls it back out.
It's great.
I loved it.
It's great.
But yeah, so she ends up pulling it out and shaking it off. She goes back to fighting Ron. But S comes up behind her and hits her in the back with an axe. But he ends up like he slams the axe into her, lets it go, and then he like just falls down dead. Ron ends up grabbing the axe and just chops at her like neck until her head flies off, and we see it like roll. Oh no, he chops it to the point that he can just. I think he kicks her head off.
Yeah,
is that what happens?
Something like that.
Yeah, either way, she gets decapitated, and her head is just like. Now, the effect here was both awesome and horrible because you could obviously see it was somebody underneath a fake floor because when they moved, the floor would move with them.
I didn't care. It still looked awesome.
Oh, yeah. No, it looked great because you just had like the blood squirting out and the head was just like screaming.
I wrote in my notes it was an almost amazing screaming head moment because it was cool as shit. If somebody commissioned me to draw the poster for this movie, I would probably center it around that shot of the screaming head.
The end of the movie.
Yeah, well, it's a cool I'm not going to spoil a 30-year-old movie. You know, make it the best shot of the movie.
That's
I love
true.
that. But you're right. Every time the head like turns from side to side, you can see the boards underneath it lifting from the actor's shoulders. Yeah, just missed it.
But it was dark enough. Like it still looked so good. Like just the amount of blood coming out of the neck of that severed head was awesome.
You don't really see many like elderly severed screaming heads. You know,
right?
I'd like to see more.
Yeah.
All right. So now the old lady is. We assume she's dead. We cut to the morning. Ron wakes up on the floor. He walks out the front door.
Birds chirping.
Yeah,
sun
it
shining.
sounds beautiful. The sun looks beautiful. He's made it. He's our final boy. But he turns around to look back, only to see S standing there with an axe swinging towards him. Ron screams, and we cut to credits.
Killed by a secondary character introduced halfway through the movie.
You know, just the way we all want to go.
Our final boy. Didn't make it.
Final boy Ron.
Didn't make it.
Ronald McFinal boy.
I did like me some end credits were completely silent, and then the whistling came in from Steve,
that was really cool,
which I really liked. And
me too.
He was whistling Jimmy Crack Corn the whole time, probably because it's free.
Yeah.
And I just picture the train car scene in Pee-wee's Big Adventure whenever I hear that with the bum singing Jimmy Crack Corn.
Nice.
And then it goes into the phonograph piano recording after that.
Yeah, that's playing at like the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it was cool.
And
the songs in the credits. Yeah.
Yeah, nice bookend.
I mean, they paid for it already. Might as well use it again.
Right.
I don't know if there was a soundtrack in this movie. I don't remember it at all.
There were in the kills. There was music, and when there were no kills on screen, there was no music.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of it musically.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
Right, so that was 1989's House on Tombstone Hill.
Oh yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about before we hop into ratings?
I want to stab this movie to death.
Let's stab this shit.
Time for the ratings.
So here on Stabby Stabby, we like to rate our movies 1 to 10 stabs. 1 stab being we just we've read a book, and a book's not a movie, and no one should rate any book more than 1. And 10 stabs being literally just the best thing you've ever seen in your entire life. You can't go a day without watching it. You need it in your blood. Just put it inside of you. So why don't we start with Eric?
Hey.
Eric, how many stabs are you giving The House on Tombstone Hill?
Well, I gave The House on Tombstone Hill a 7. I gave Dead Dudes in the House a 7.5. And then I gave The Dead Come Home an 8. Wow. So, no, I gave it a 7. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I wanted to go higher, but I just want to talk about what I liked about it. I liked that it was super violent. It was a kill fest. It was like a 1-by-1. Let's kill these assholes. There was tons of blood. It was good and squishy. The kills were creative. That window kill was absolutely fantastic. I just love that it was gory, and I love the low budget kills. People getting chopped up in different ways. So that's what made it fun for me. If you could have supercut the kills together, it would be my favorite thing in the universe. All the other stuff in between, not so great. The grandma was great though. I think she could be like I would watch multiple movies with her. She could be a classic killer character if they took her and put her in different movies. But yeah, that was my perspective. Yeah, I love the kills, but the intro of Ricky and S, I mean, come on. It was just made no sense, and a lot of the chase moments were pretty slow. Just walking around, slowly chasing to the next kills. That got a little redundant. So, 7 for me. Dan, how about you?
Hey, I'm gonna go 6, and I'm only going 6 because I totally agree with you. I think a lot of this movie, I wanted to love this movie because, like you said, the gore is amazing, and like straight up, the director's really talented. Like the shots were awesome. I really loved the blocking, and he just needed an editor. He needed an editor, and he needed actors who have acted before. And if those two things had been in place, this could have been like an all-time classic. Because like you said, the gore is amazing, and that alone is worth the price of admission.
Mm-hmm.
And that alone is the reason why it's getting this many stabs. If it wasn't for the gore being good, this would have been like a 4 or 3 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, it just gets tedious. And really, yeah, I'm just going to say ditto. Everything that you said. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. I wish it wasn't so slow and tedious between the amazing bits. And I totally agree with you, Eric. I am dying for a Grandma versus Freddy versus Jason.
Yes.
I want that to happen, please. So that is 6 stabs from me. Greg, how are you going to affectionately stab this movie?
I am going to stab this movie 7 times as well. We didn't need Ricky and S. Point off for that. Like that was padding for 90 minutes. It was a little slow, but I love gore, and this is the kind of gore that I enjoy the most, where it's cartoony, like it's so over the top. You cut an old woman's head off. That's amazing. Even like all the kills, you didn't even see all the kills, but it gave you enough that it was fun. Like you didn't see Steve get his like face cut off or anything like that, but you saw him get his hands and feet stabbed into the ground. Poor Joey, rest in pieces. He was great. I like the characters. They weren't human beings; they were robots, but I didn't mind it because you didn't mind seeing them die, and that was the point of the movie. But yeah, you got to cut out the superfluous like secondary characters that had no point being there. You had 7 already, you didn't need 9. You cut away from the nudity, and that's a big no-no on this podcast for me. But overall, if you kind of tweak some stuff, this would have been like easily been like an 8.5 to a 9 for me. It's just so much fun. I just enjoyed it. I've seen it now probably 4 times. It's just a good time. I highly recommend buying the Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome. It looked fantastic. I think they did a great job.
Nice.
Restoring it. Yeah, so 7 stabs from me.
Hey, Greg,
Awesome.
Before we jump into the ending, just real quick, were there any extras that you remember on the Blu-ray? I'm just curious, like if it was padded with
I don't
some
know,
additional
because
stuff.
I never watch extras.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm asking the wrong person. Yeah.
I'm always like, I'm going to buy the Uber special edition so I can have 18 documentaries about this movie, and I'm never going to watch it.
Yeah, that's okay. I can look it up. I just don't feel like it right now. So.
I was just related to your question, Eric. I was just clicking around on IMDb earlier today and trying to like see who these actors were, like what they were known for, if anything. And I did notice that IMDb specifically credits those wiggling legs that fall after the window chomps that dude in half.
Yeah.
To Bruce Spalding Fuller, who I don't know if he's like a famous Hollywood makeup artist now. And I can just list some of the stuff the person that made those prosthetic legs went on to do.
Do it.
He's known for his work on The Cave, Captain Marvel, The Avengers Infinity War. He worked on the Resident Evil movies. He did The Dead Don't Die. He worked on the TV show The Orville. He did makeup for Us, Captain Marvel, already said that one, American Horror Story, Sharp Objects. What else? Corporate, Bright, Star Trek Discovery, The Shape of Water, Inhumans.
Wait, he played the old lady's legs?
Guardians of the
something?
Galaxy Volume 2. Yes, this guy has gone on to do like huge, amazing.
You were saying
amazing movies.
It was the legs twitching when he got cut in half.
It was Bob's legs. Sorry,
yeah. So that was cool. Nice little connection to a bunch of modern, like really famous films. Maybe
I love that.
Here.
I love the humble DIY beginnings that this guy had. That's awesome.
Well, and also it's the best part of the movie.
It's his second movie.
Oh, is
as
it?
Well,
yeah. There you go.
His second makeup department. After The Rejuvenator, which I think we should watch at some point. Awesome. Oh, he did Dick Tracy, too. Sorry, now I'm just excited to see names of movies I know.
Yeah. Hey, that's we've said that before on this podcast. That's part of the fun of watching these old movies is you see some recognizable faces starting really humbly, and it's nice. It's nice. It's affirming in a weird way. So, yeah. Hey, thanks for chatting about this movie, guys. This is really fun.
Yeah,
Hey, no problem.
We'll probably watch this again. I'll probably watch this again. It'd be fun to watch this movie like with you guys. That'd be cool. Let's all get drunk and watch this in like 6 months, not right away.
Yeah. Who's got time to edit all the kills together? Anybody want to volunteer to do that?
I mean, probably you.
Yeah, it's probably going to be me. All right. Nice.
Well, if you've listened this long, thank you so much. Like we always say, if you don't mind, it would do us a huge solid if you went to iTunes to give us a 5-star rating. If you don't have access to iTunes, whatever podcasting app you're using, 5 stars would go a long way with us. And as always, if you know other people that are really cool, normal, well-adjusted adults who enjoy content like this, pass this along. We would love to have them listening. Greg, how can people learn about what movie we're going to watch next?
They can drive up in an old car, pull up to the haunted house of Instagram, and follow us into this house at Stabby Pod. And we'll announce every Wednesday the next movie that we're watching, give you a little bit of time to acquaint yourself with the layout of the movie and find your bedroom and know where you're going to die. And so the movie's not spoiled. So you can enjoy it with us. We'll talk about it. We'll spoil it. But you'll know it already because you are very, very handsome.
That's right. You're all very handsome.
But yeah, come and follow us at Stabby Pod. Social media is terrible. But we'll all suffer together. So it's all right.
All right. With that, what do we like to say on this program when we're saying goodbye?
Don't forget to stab your friends. I knew that wasn't going to work out.